Hello, Internet! It is week 2 of the MBL, and I'm joined by Mr. Aaron Cybertron Zen again. Hello, Aaron.
Hey, guys.
And, well, it's team builder time for Team Flawless. So,
It is.
let's, not mess around. Let's find where my button is and get into it. There we go. So, quite a nice week 1. Top of the rankings, but this Magearna, I'm going to go with Magearna. I think that's how you're supposed to say it. Yes, one of these things that we've never seen before. Like it pulled a, what was it, like a 3-6, deficit down to a win. So
Yeah,
we've got to respect it, I guess.
absolutely.
And the rest of the team as well. Like, good old Hooper. That's called Hooper, isn't it? With its sludge bombs missing our Azumarill last year.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I think those two are by far the two I'm most scared of. Also, just because I'm a little bit unfamiliar with them. I did watch their battle last week, and like you said, the Magearna really just kind of dominated completely once it came in because combined with the Togekiss, it was able to just get like one boost, and they'd be able to just start picking up knockouts everywhere. And the cool thing about its ability is if its partner Pokemon goes down, it still gets a boost. Like it's not like Beast Boost where you need to pick up the knockout. It's just if anything gets knocked out in the field, it like automatically transfers over. So I think that's a Pokemon that we're gonna want to have a couple of answers to maybe immediately.
Yeah, so chances are it is going to get some boost at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose the thing with Magearna is that, last week they ran Floor Cannon, Flash Cannon, and Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
And Jirachi kind of walls that. And
Yes.
Volcarona sort of walls it as well. So I think we've got some answers to Magearna. Like, honestly, I think the one that I'm most worried about, there's two that I'm more worried about. The first one actually is Mamoswine, I'm most worried about. And the other one is actually Parasect too. So, like, especially after week 1 when Azumarill did so well for us, I think they're going to bring Serena, and they're going to basically block all of our priorities. So I'm thinking how we can sort of safely go about this without relying on Aqua Jet, Mach Punch, and Fake Out.
Right.
So there's 3 that I really do like in this matchup. I really do like Jirachi, I really do like Volcarona, and I really do like Aerodactyl. But
Yes.
the other 3, I'm a little bit in the air about. I don't see any reason to bring Purloin here. And, there's maybe Bruxish is not so good here either. But, I don't know, like, their team isn't that fast. So, seeing as they have got Parasect, I am a little bit, I'm always worried about Trick Room, aren't I? But, I am more worried about Trick Room here. Because if they do get Trick Room up, which Magearna can learn, I don't know if Hooper can Trick Room or not. It might be able to. But Magearna definitely can Trick Room. Like, if they get Parasect and Trick Room, and, they can just start whittling away at things. And I'm a bit scared about that.
Yeah, definitely. I know last week they also had the Tailwind option with Salamence and Togekiss. And their team in general is really scary just because they have so many options to everything.
Yeah, it did seem like they were very speed control focused with Tailwind and Sticky Web as well last week. So, they could go fast mode with Tailwind, Sticky Web. They could go Trick Room. The other thing, what was I going to say? I've forgotten what the other thing was I was going to say. It'll come back to me. But I think definitely Volcarona is the most important thing. Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to say is last season when we played Beryl, when Beryl was with Shofu, I'm pretty sure it was their team anyway, they led with something with Stealth Rocks, and that really messed up our Volcarona. And because Volcarona is so important in this matchup, like, I'm thinking maybe leading with Volcarona, because they might go with something with rocks, maybe Mamoswine with rocks straight away.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I agree with that. I think the thing I'm just most scared of is like they teched on a lot of random rock type attacks in their last match. Like they had Ancient Power on Togekiss, and then I think like Rockium, Zeon, and Fernape. So we have to be really careful about all of those.
Yeah. There is lots of Pokemon that actually can knock our Volcarona out.
Yeah.
Frustratingly. But how could we best support Volcarona? Because the thing that, like, this is why Mamoswine scares me. Because if we led with like Volcarona and Jirachi, then like the Mamoswine can just Earthquake all over us, like if they're scarfed. So that's risky. Like if we went with Aerodactyl Volcarona, then I don't know, maybe that could work.
Yeah, I'm thinking Aerodactyl. Like Raichu could still work if we go with the fling strategy again, because like even with Cerny out, they can block fake out, but they can't block the King's Rock fling. And if they don't lead Xerneas, then we can't just fake out because we're faster than everything.
Yeah, that is true.
But then the question is like, what do we go? Like, what do we do from there? Like, what Volcarona set do we want?
Yeah, I mean, I do think Quiver Dance for this one. I mean,
yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, it is like our main focus of offense maybe in this game. I mean, the other thing is that their fastest two Pokemon are Infernape and Galvantula, and they're base 108. So Aerodactyl does threaten and is faster than both of those. We could even go Adamant with Aerodactyl this time, unless we think maybe they'll go Scarf Mamoswine, with Adamant or something. But otherwise, their team isn't particularly fast. So
to me, I think like the 6 or the 6 by far maybe the most offensive threats are like the top 3 and then the second row bar Sarnia. But like you said, like if they do go for I don't know if they've considered the Trick Room option even, but yeah, that's definitely kind of scary. I don't see Galvantula coming in here or Tentacruel. Like those are the 2 I would think they're gonna keep out of this matchup.
Well, do you think? Because I don't know, like Nidoqueen does look okay for us. And Tentacruel is really one of the few things that they've got that actually threatens our Nidoqueen. I mean, I suppose it's always a question of like, what do they identify as the threats to them, sort of thing. Like we've never used Nidoqueen, so maybe they just don't see us going with that. Like we have an option of putting a random Scarf on something ourselves too.
Yes.
I mean, I was thinking maybe we could go Volcarona and Scarf Breloom leading.
Oh, that's cool.
Because, I mean, unless they have safety goggles on the Magearna, which they could do, then we could, I mean, and maybe they went with like a Jolly Scarf Mamoswine, then I think we could, like, that would be a pretty good lead.
Yeah, actually, thinking about that option, I like that a lot, I think. Just because, like, a fast Spore can really just throw them off guard immediately.
Yeah, because, like, what does Volcarona feel threatened by that Breloom can't Spore, really? Like, we can just, fire attack the 2 grass Pokemon that can resist the Spore. I mean, the only problem might be if they did actually lead with Infernape.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, like, Infernape Mamoswine can be maybe problematic just because, like, they have fast Fake Out, and then Mamoswine, we wouldn't know what item it is.
Yeah. But, I mean, if we did go fast, like Scarf Pokemon and, Aerodactyl or whatever, at least that would get around their Queenly Majesty. Even if they bring that thing, they might even not bring it, so...
Yes.
If we did go Adamant Aerodactyl too, an Ice Fang at -1 should still knock out Salamence, unless it's like heavily invested too. But I suppose the thing with Aerodactyl is that it just can't touch Magearna at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm trying to look right now, just to see like which 2 I really don't want to bring. Like I think like the top 7, like the first 2 rows are like probably the 7 I prioritize the most, with the ones you mentioned earlier being the top picks. So like for me, I'd probably drop one of Azumarill, Nidoqueen, Breloom, or Raichu. But like the top 2 rows just feel like they have so much more presence in this matchup specifically, mainly because of the main threats that they have on their team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was trying to think earlier about what Regigigas could potentially do here, because like not many of their Pokemon can actually hit it too hard outside of the Infernape, I guess. But it doesn't really do much back. Like it can't really touch Magearna. I was looking at like Zed Fire Punch on Magearna, and like it doesn't even knock it out. So yeah, I'm not sure. And I mean, this is one of the things with the Z moves and everything. Like Wide Guard isn't as safe as it once was.
Right.
So I'm not as keen on. I mean, I agree with what you just said. I'm not as keen on Regigigas, Bruxish. I mean, Bruxish could do some work, but I'm just a bit scared of the Hooper, and it can't really touch the Magearna either. Threatened by the Galvantula if they did want to bring that. So yeah, I agree with the top 7. So
yeah, this one is just tricky because it's like the conventional sets we normally use might have to adjust it a little bit. Like we haven't one thing that their team actually had last time was like a ton of Z moves. So they had a Z move on the Hoopa, Z move on the Infernape, and a Z move on the Salamence. So they're clearly like willing to go like with those gimmicky Z moves to pick up like one hit big knockout. So I think that's something we have to worry about. One idea we could explore is like the Z Happy Hour Jirachi in this kind of matchup.
Yeah, I did think about that. would we? Yeah, I mean, I suppose. I mean, the defense boost would be nice against like earthquakes and stuff too. Not
Yeah.
like not only offensively would it be good. Yeah, we could look into that actually.
Yeah, I think like Jirachi we didn't bring last time, but it's like it seems really good here, but we need to like support it properly.
Yeah, I suppose like a normal Jirachi set, like Iron Head, Zen Headbutt, maybe Ice Punch, whatever, like that wouldn't really be able to touch the Magearna either, though. So
Yeah.
that's the only concern there. But I mean, we don't need everything to be able to touch Magearna, as long as we do like check it quite hard.
Yes.
Yeah. So well, we could do that, or we could go with Scarf Jirachi. Like I did like last week, I mentioned like Trick with the Scarf, and like, obviously Iron Head is pretty good too, and all the rest of it. But yeah, I mean, I do definitely think Jirachi is going to do some work in this game.
Yeah, I just like don't want it to be that Pokemon where like, oh, it's gonna be so good, and then like we just lose it immediately, because it's like it really feels like it has a lot of potential here, but
Yeah.
we have to, when we're in game, be like real, like think of every possibility that could potentially knock it out in one hit.
Yeah, like it is threatened by that Infernape quite hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Okay. Well, Nidoqueen and Azumarill. What do you think about these two? Is Azumarill actually worth taking here?
Right. Like, so the way I see it is like Azumarill puts on a little bit of pressure with Aqua Jet, and with Play Rough, it could do some damage as well. But like my fear is that it gets outsped and outdamaged. Like it doesn't do enough in return. And if they do bring Xerneas, then we can't Aqua Jet, obviously.
Yeah.
So I really don't think this is the kind of game for a Belly Drum setup game, because it's like there's so many Pokemon that can just do damage to us immediately.
I agree. Yeah.
So if anything, like maybe a Choice Band variant would be interesting. But yeah, I don't like the normal Belly Drum setup here. And then Nidoqueen, like it does so much damage and has the chance to one-hit knockout stuff. It's just like, can we outspeed stuff and move beforehand?
Yeah, like its base speed is 78, I think. Like it is naturally just a little bit slower than Mamoswine and Togekiss.
Yeah.
Like depending on if they, and Hooper as well, which I think is 82. So depending on if they do go like, jolly timid max speed or not. Yeah, like it's always tricky. I mean, it is bulky enough normally to take one hit, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's just one of those very simple, very straightforward Pokemon that, well, I don't know. I mean, I've not used it before, so I can't really be confident or not confident in it yet. But
yeah,
I do agree. I mean, I was thinking earlier, going back to Azumarill, of like, we could maybe go with like, it sounds a bit gimmicky, maybe like Sapsipper.
That mind popped in my mind too.
Because at least then we wouldn't like be so worried about the Serena or the parasite like sporing us and all that sort of stuff. But on the other side, it wouldn't really be able to do too much back to them. Like a player off probably wouldn't knock out the Hooper or the Salamence, and
right.
Magearna would just set up all over it too. But,
yes.
I mean, if we don't think they'll take the Tentacruel, then I don't know, like a bulk, maybe a bulkier Azumarill. I mean, I do agree. I don't think Belly Drum is the way to go with Azumarill in this game if we do take it.
Yes. Like one crazy thing like that I was thinking, it does get access to like Perish Song, so we could like use it as something to like close out a game with if they have like, because in their last game, right, they had Magearna or whatever, Magearna, and like Hoopa as like late game sweepers. So it's like if we could get it in and somehow like trap them in and get a Perish Song up, that could be interesting. Just because it's still like decently bulky. That's just something that popped in my mind as an alternative.
Yeah, I mean that is, just to play devil's advocate, that is like, it's very situational though, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Having Azumarill as one of our last and all the rest of it too.
Right.
But I mean, the three that I'm least confident with here are Raichu, Azumarill, and Nidoqueen. I do think Breloom can do some work in this. But which I mean, what do you think? I like Raichu. I mean, Raichu is always good, and we can go with Fling King's Rock again if we really want to. And even turn one, we can just fling the King's Rock just in case the Serena switches in. I mean, Azumarill has been so good for us, so it would be a shame to leave that behind. It is such a good Pokemon, but maybe Nidoqueen. I mean, Nidoqueen does threaten the Magearna, where Volcarona really is the only other thing that we've got to hit it.
Yeah, to me, I think the one I'm personally least comfortable with is the Azumarill, just because I feel like they're going to tech pretty hard for it, because they know how big it can be.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Whereas, like, Nidoqueen, it's like, yeah, you can tech for it, I guess, but still, like, it's a Pokemon that immediately pressures like one-on-one with knockouts because of like if we run the typical offensive set. Whereas like with the Azumarill, it struggles a little bit more. And the main reason is because the Togekiss is what really scares me the most. With like Nidoqueen, it's like, oh yeah, we can have a super effective Sludge Bomb, which can do a lot of damage. Whereas with Azumarill, if Togekiss is out on the field, then they can just redirect everything away from it. And like Aqua Jet obviously does nothing to the Togekiss. Like, so that's like the main concern I have on my mind. But I agree, yeah, I think like Jirachi, Volcarona, Breloom, Aerodactyl we definitely want. And then between those three, honestly, it's tricky. Because like Raichu as a support Pokemon is just so good. And if we do decide to go like set up with Volcarona and Jirachi, I feel like we definitely should be picking it.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to note as well is if we didn't take Azumarill, like, what really could we hit Hooper with outside of, like, a Scarf Breloom?
Right.
And I can definitely see them bringing that too, so...
Yeah, I think they definitely bring both of those.
Yeah. So, like, this is tricky.
Yep, not easy.
That is one of the few things, really, that they've got that actually does threaten the Jirachi.
Yeah.
With its Hyperspace Fury or whatever it's called.
Okay.
So, well, we are set on these 7 Pokemon up here, but
yeah.
Let's move.
And as an 8th in team preview, what do you think probably scares them the most? Because I can't see us bringing any of these 3 into game, but might as well play some mind games.
Maybe. Well, mind games may be the Purloin. I mean, that might make them bring the Tsarina.
Yeah.
If we think, if they do bring Tsarina, then, like, okay, it sits on the field and it stops us doing priority. But what else does it actually do? Like, it does nothing in front of...
No. Yeah, it honestly would actually help us more than anything because, like, it just kind of sits around so we can just attack around it.
Just take one of their slots, yeah.
Yeah, so I think, actually, I like that. We should bring Purloin solely to see if we can tempt them into bringing the Tsarina. Yeah. And even if not, like, it's fine.
Okay, well, we've got our 8. Hurrah. But how do we lead and which 2 are we dropping? So we're not going to take Purloin, but I mean, let's think about leads then, because then we can sort of work around where we're going from here. Like, I'm going to throw Volcarona and Scarf Breloom on the table, but I'm open to, like, Aerodactyl as well. I do think we should be leading with Volcarona. I know it's really, really important for us here, and I'm like quite hesitant to lead with something that is so important. But just because I think they will go with Stealth Rocks, and if they do go with Stealth Rocks, it's probably going to be the Mamoswine that's got it. So if we do go with Volcarona and maybe a Scarf Breloom, then that could work for us.
Yeah, I think I agree with you here. The way I see how Volcarona is going to be in this matchup is they're going to try to nail us with a random rock type attack.
Yeah.
So we just need to shut down, that user. My fear is, like, let's say they lead something like Infernape Salamence or Infernape Mamoswine. It's just like they might tech rocket type attacks on 2 Pokemon at once. So it's like we could get a surprise Spore off with 1, but then the other could still just knock Volcarona out. So that's like what I'm thinking. But I do like Volcarona as a lead here still.
Yeah, I mean we could protect Spore and then Spore and Quiver Dance.
Right. Honestly, that might be the safest option with Scarf Breloom.
Maybe. But then we're sort of playing with sleep turns and everything. Like, which of their Pokemon can actually one-shot Volcarona? Like, Salamence can do the Sky Strike thing. Mamoswine can have rock moves. Infernape can have rock moves. The Tentacle, I suppose, can have, like, water Z moves. That wouldn't be too far, like, out of the ordinary. Togekiss, I wouldn't have thought. But maybe like a Banded Hooper or something, maybe too. But
yeah. And the other thing I'm scared about Volcarona is, like, if we do get a Quiver Dance setup off, like, Heat Wave does a lot to everything, but Infernape and Salamence are, like, the 2 that it kind of struggles against.
Yeah.
And I guess, like, the last concern is if they lead Togekiss and Mamoswine, in which they could just Spore, or they could redirect our Spore. But I suppose if we protect and Spore turn 1, that kind of mitigates that problem.
Yeah, and if they have like the goggles on the Togekiss or something, like that's just my overriding fear from like VGC 15.
yeah, which is a fair.
Okay, so what would there be a better lead than Volcarona? I mean, worst case scenario, if we went with Volcarona, Scarfed Breloom, worst case scenario is what, Infernape and Salamence. Like, we could switch in.
Yeah, Infernape. Right, solely because we can't do damage to either of those. But then Aerodactyl could switch into that relatively nicely.
Yeah, I mean, chances are if they did that, they might just sort of fake out and Tailwind.
Yeah.
And then a double into Aerodactyl would knock it out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, okay. And like they did have a Knockerberry on Magearna last battle as well. So
yeah.
I can definitely see them sticking with Knockerberry. I mean, if they go with Knockerberry, then we can put it to sleep with Spore. So
yes.
And then don't worry about items as well. Like last time we used the Z crystal on Volcarona, but I don't know. I was thinking maybe Lumberry if they had like Thunderwave or Spore on Togekiss or Parasect, or maybe we could have the Z crystal too, just to make sure we do knock out the Magearna. I mean, I'm sure an Knockerberry probably could let it survive that though. So
that's what I was thinking of.
And I think we will want Bug Buzz as well, just for the Hooper.
Yes.
Actually, yeah, Volcarona, that is one thing that can hit the Hooper still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. All right then. So, do we have any alternative leads that we could go with?
Yeah, that's a good question. The other thing I'm thinking, like, I really want to just start off with Volcarona or Jirachi.
Yeah.
Jirachi, I think, could be really good here because it's just a question of what kind of set do we want to run on it.
Yeah, I mean, if we did go Volcarona Jirachi, the worry would be if they had like a Scarf Mamoswine, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So we could do that and be safe-ish if we had a Scarf on our Jirachi, I guess.
Yeah.
And went for an Iron Head, and if they've got a Sash, we've got a 60% chance of flinching them.
What do you think about Jirachi and Volcarona as a lead?
Yeah.
Like if we go, a Scarfrachi, then with the, I guess then we still run into the issue of Infernape Salamence as a lead.
Yeah, Infernape would be a problem.
The main issue is like trying to match their Tailwind. So then the best way to match their Tailwind would probably be with Aerodactyl. What about Aerodactyl Jirachi?
Well, if we do that, we're not. I'm just making this assumption that they are going to try and bring Stealth Rocks here, so which they might not. So if we did go Aerodactyl Jirachi, yeah, we could Ice Fang if they do have the Salamence. We might be. I wonder if Hooper is heavy enough to like stop being Sky Dropped, because like Hooper could be a problem for us there too.
Yeah, and then the other issue is if they have like Infernape and Scarf Mamoswine, they could just fake out Rachi, and then I suppose we could just protect Aerodactyl in that position.
Yeah, could do.
So never mind about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think Stealth Rocks is scary, but it still requires them to like one, have it on a Pokemon, two, have that Pokemon out and use it before Volcarona comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I think Infernape can Stealth Rock as well, but
that's true. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if Magearna can or not. Maybe not, because it's normally like it was an old move tutor move or a TM or something. So maybe Magearna can't, but if they do go Stealth Rocks and they do lead with Mamoswine, then if we lead with Jirachi, then we can 60% of the time, if they're Sash worst case scenario, stop that too. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe Jirachi leading is okay, and leading Jirachi means that we can actually keep Volcarona a bit safer in the back.
Yeah, so personally, what I'm thinking is Aerodactyl Jirachi to try to bait up the Infernape Salamence, and if we can, because like Jirachi Aerodactyl have a pretty good matchup against both of those, and even if they don't go with that, we're still in like an okay position, and the flinch chances are also like really in our favor there because we have Iron Head and Rock Slide, so like that combination, like obviously we shouldn't rely on it, but it could put us in a decent position, even if we're going
worst case scenario. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I like so far from my perspective, but I'm curious on your thoughts. I think it just like feels a little bit safer just because Jirachi is faster, and I'm a little bit more comfortable with that. And like one of my main fears is like they just fake out and set up Tailwind, and then we're playing from behind there. So we want to like have something to match the Tailwind.
Yeah. So I guess worst case, if we did lead with Jirachi and Aerodactyl, maybe they went with some kind of Trick Room mode.
Right.
Like if they do get Trick Room up, what can we do to stop that? I mean, I suppose we could have Taunt on Aerodactyl, but I mean, if they really wanted to, they probably could get Trick Room up at some point. And yeah, it's at that point where we're thinking maybe Azumarill might be nice in the back.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe they. I always am scared about Trick Room. Maybe they won't even think about it.
Yeah, no, I can't blame you for it. Like, it's just I personally, I'm not sure if they'll consider it, but also like I think it's good you bring it up because it's like if they do and we have no answer to it, we're just screwed. So we have to keep that in mind. So it's like, can we figure out a strategy where it's like, okay, even if they set up Trick Room, we should still be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think like you're right, Azumarill might be the answer to that.
I mean, I'm actually just gonna look up Hooper. Can Hooper learn Trick Room? Let's have a look. I'm pretty sure. I think it can, but don't actually know. Unbound Trick Room. Yeah, it can Trick Room. So okay, so at least we know that. So they've got 2 Pokemon that can Trick Room on their team.
Yeah.
And Volcarona can one-shot both of them potentially.
Yep.
So like, I don't know. Maybe that's the case for. I mean, I do like Jirachi Aerodactyl, but that is not the case for actually leading with Volcarona too.
Yeah.
I mean, unless, like, even if they did have a Knockerberry, I mean, I'll do the calculation, but I'm sure a Knockerberry would allow it to survive, like, a Z Heat Wave from Volcarona.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
But I'll just check it anyway. Alright, Volcarona, Heat Wave, Z move. Yeah, normally it does just 252 HP, again, and normally it does maximum 168%, which will be halved, so yeah, it'd easily survive that, yeah.
Okay.
Well, we can always flinch it.
Yeah, that honestly, yeah. I personally feel most comfortable, I think, looking at this matchup with Aerodactyl Jirachi.
Yeah. But what sort of Jirachi then? We could go Hold Hands, or we could have maybe Sugarberry.
Yeah, those are all options.
I mean, one thing I didn't actually realize last week is that we could have a Z move on each side. Like, I can have one and you can have one.
Right, yeah.
Like, it's not like Megas where... Actually, it is like Megas, where we can.
Yeah.
So, if we're using the Hold Hands Z, normal Z thing, then we can still have, like, via Volcarona on the other side too.
Right.
If we really wanted to.
Yeah, so for me, like, I'm trying to think, because I think Scarfrachi is maybe the most consistent option just because we don't have to worry about any of their Pokemon being Scarfed then. But... at the same time, it's like, it still outspeeds everything. It's just a Mamoswine that I'm really scared of, I guess.
Yeah.
And, like, Scarfrachi covers the Mamoswine option, and it's still a good offensive asset against everything else.
Yeah, Scarfrachi does cover quite a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, with Ironhead, with, I suppose, Ice Punch for the Salamence?
Yeah.
I mean, is that necessary if we got Ice Fang on Aerodactyl?
And then, like, Fire Fang it still does some damage to Magearna, but that's what I'm thinking of.
I wonder if, like, I'm sure it gets Signal Beam, but I wonder if it has any other bug attacks that I can actually hit the Hooper with. I'll have a little look. I doubt it, but we can always see, can't we? Oh, it gets U-Turn.
Oh, that's interesting.
U-Turn. I wonder if that'll... I wonder if that would... I mean, it's quite effective, isn't it, on Hooper? Like, it's Dark Psychic, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Alright, let's have a look. Hooper... against Jirachi. U-turn. Yeah. Like, on no investment Hooper, Jolly U-turn does minimum 127%.
Nice, okay.
So, yeah, actually Jirachi can one-shot Hooper as well. So,
yeah.
That was...
yeah. I think maybe we want to put that just to tech it in, like, in case we're in a position where we can just surprise them, because they might not know that.
Yeah. Ironhead U-turn. Do you think Trick might be nice if, like, to trick a Scarf onto the Magearna if it does want to go for a Trick Room or something?
Yeah, I'm thinking, but the thing is, like, if anything, they could actually use that against us, right? And, like, switch it. And, like, I think we could probably just go, like, Ironhead, Zen Headbutt, U-turn, and then, like, maybe Ice Punch or Fire Punch.
Yeah, we could do. I mean, I do like U-turn because that could, like, if we do wrong, then we can just U-turn into a better position.
Yeah, no, sorry, we definitely should have U-turn there. I think it's just, like, there are not enough moves for me that I really want Trick, because I feel like with this Scarfrachi, we want offensive options against anything that's led against us.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm happy with Jirachi and Aerodactyl.
Okay.
And so we'll pop these over here. And I do definitely think Volcarona as well in the back.
Yes.
And do we think Scarf Breloom is the best option here?
Well, if we're running Scarfrachi, we can't.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So Sash Breloom then, I guess.
Yep, and which is still good, right? Because it's like we can guarantee a Spore off or force a double target, and I like that those are the two options that they have to go up against when we do bring Breloom up, right?
Yeah. So looking at these 4 then, what can we not touch so well? So Aerodactyl, Jirachi, Volcarona, Breloom. We might struggle against...
I think Mence, maybe, but we could have Ice Fang, right? And so that wouldn't be as much of a problem.
Yeah, an Ice Punch on Jirachi as well.
Yeah.
Maybe the Tentacruel?
Yeah, if they bring it, yeah, definitely.
In which case...
Like, I'm actually kind of surprised. The 4 we picked do better offensively than I thought originally.
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess Magearna is still a threat just because, like, we don't have anything that can one-shot it, really, other than Volcarona, but
Yeah.
like you said, it could have the berry.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'm tempted to bring the Nidoqueen. Although I don't even know if Nidoqueen can one-shot it.
Yeah, Nidoqueen would help us against the... I doubt it would be able to. With a Life Orb, maybe, but... I mean, I suppose, what can Magearna do back? A Flash Cannon would do a chunk of damage, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just going to plug it into the Calc real quick.
Yeah, I'm just going to see if Magearna can actually, like, Ice Beam or anything. What generation is Magearna?
They actually, if we run Modest and Life Orb, Magearna needs a ton of investment to survive.
Okay.
And our base speed is faster because we're 76 against Magearna's 65.
Have a look at the Magearna's Ice Beam on our Nidoqueen then, because it can learn Ice Beam.
Yep.
And that would be the best thing to hit us with.
Yeah, they don't knock us out even unless they would need a special attack boosting item.
Okay.
Even with Modest max special attack, we survive that. It does 77 to 92%.
Nidoqueen could be okay for us here then.
Yeah, I like it solely because like it just pressures Magearna, and like I just saw how much work it did that last game, and I was like, oh my goodness. And I know Magearna's really good in doubles in general, like just because I was kind of reading some of the analysis that people were making like after we did the MBL draft, and I was like, oh, I guess that's a Pokemon I didn't know anything about, but turns out pretty good. So I like the Nidoqueen option here a lot, just because Magearna right now, given the 4 that we've picked, I think Nidoqueen as an answer to the Magearna. Like, even if we're not using it necessarily, it just puts on more pressure.
Yeah, I agree. So,
cool.
We just need to pick our last Pokemon now then. It's either Raichu or Azumarill.
Yeah.
And, it seems so harsh to split this iconic duo up. But
they're like best friends, man. We can't separate them.
But, well, I mean, let's just do the same thing. What would we struggle with? If we've just got these 5 Pokemon, what would we struggle with most?
So the way I look at it is, like, we use Raichu more as a utility Pokemon with Fake Out, and, like, it doesn't do much damage, right? It's really there to support its members. Whereas Azumarill is more of an offensive member, and so Azumarill offensively can actually still be really good here, even without the typical Belly Drum set, just because, like, play rough against Salamence and the Hoopa, and then, like, water type attacks against the Infernape and the Mamoswine. Whereas we would use Raichu mainly probably just for Fake Out and maybe, like, to get a flinch or two. So the question is, like, do we think the utility from Raichu, like those couple of flinches, is important enough to really justify bringing it? Because otherwise, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Azumarill solely for its offensive potential.
I mean, the thing that I'm worried about is, like, if we are relying on Azumarill to go with the Hoopa, then it's like they're probably just going to have Sludge Bomb again, or not Sludge Bomb, the other one, the physical Gunk Shot.
Yes.
And I don't know, like, to be honest, I was leaning more towards Raichu, just because we have got, like, Nidoqueen is very basic, just hits hard. Volcarona hits hard. Jirachi, if we're going Scarfed, very basic, just hits hard and is fast. We don't really have too many options to sort of, like, maybe deal with a Tailwind to, like, Fake Out and get some kind of control on the field, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. I guess, like, the reason why I was, like, tempted for Azumarill is because they can really, like, not wall, but put on a lot of pressure against Mence, Infernape, and Mamoswine. Like, basically, if you have Azumarill in against those Pokemon specifically, it can put on a lot of pressure. But I think you're actually right, because, like, even if it is out against those 3, like, chances are it's going to be supported by something that's going to pressure the Azumarill, like the Magearna or the Hoopa, both which can just do a ton of damage or knock it out, or Togekiss for redirection, or Cerny, actually. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think Raichu's better, probably.
I mean, Raichu, it's... I mean, it can always do something.
Yeah.
And it is still faster than Infernape, and would be able to get like a Thunderbolt off as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, I mean, I can see arguments for both. I mean, we will be able to hit the Togekiss, a little bit better as well. Maybe they cover the Tentacruel if they do bring that a little bit as well.
Yeah, it's just like the one thing I'm worried about is like if we bring Raichu a little bit more weak to Mamoswine, so do we feel comfortable enough for answers against Mamoswine? Like, so yeah, we are pretty weak to it, but the thing is we also have a lot of tools against it because it's like we've got Rachi, we can outspeed, and Ice Shard isn't going to be knocking out Aerodactyl, and then if we have Sash Umbreon, we can just trade knockouts too. So
that is a good point.
Yeah, so Mamoswine's something where it's like we really can't allow it to put in too much work, and we should be willing to trade 1v1 with it. But even though it does threaten our team a lot, like, feels like we should have a decent number of answers against it.
Well, hopefully. I mean,
yeah.
If they had, like, Icicle Spear, then they could just knock out Breloom. If they had Rock Slide, they can just knock out Volcarona. And, like, maybe Aerodactyl have to go with the Z Rock Crystal. Like, Earthquake, if, like, Jirachi is hanging around, can just go down to an Earthquake too. Or maybe 2 Earthquakes. Like, now that you said that, I'm a little bit more concerned about that Mamoswine too. So, like... I don't know. There's arguments for both.
Yeah, it's this one's tough, to be honest. I'm really torn. I don't know. Like, originally I was thinking. I guess the other question is like, what set would we run on Azumarill if we're not running Belly Drum, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's not really much cause for Assault Vestas. They haven't really got any special attackers outside of Magearna and the spider thing. Galvantula.
One interesting thing we could run is like the poison resist berry specifically for Hoopa, so that like we can take an attack and just play rough in return for a knockout.
Yeah, I did think that earlier actually, and the thought slipped away from me. Yeah, we could do. Like, who even knows what that berry is called?
Right. I really don't remember well.
No. Yeah, we could do that. I mean, it does do very well against Infernape. It does sort of bait out the Serena, I guess, too.
Yeah.
It does do very well against Mamoswine. If we have the Resist Berry, it does very well against Hooper and the Salamence too, unless they have like Sky Strike or something. Downsides is that it can't really hit Magearna too well. Are we worried about Galvantula or Tentacruel? Because like I do think Tentacruel is like, potentially an issue.
Yeah. I mean, I see both of those Pokemon as like, yeah, even if they do end up bringing it, they're kind of one-dimensional. So
yeah,
like, I don't think they're too big of. Personally, I'm not too concerned about them, but maybe there's something there that I haven't seen. Like, I feel like we should be able to deal with those relatively easily if they do come up.
Yeah. All right. Well, how about we leave this as a cliffhanger, and and you can see tomorrow on Aaron's channel which one we actually bring.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll talk about it a bit more. We'll decide and get the Pokemon together and everything. But subscribe to Aaron. His channel will be hosting the battle tomorrow. So
yes.
This is going to be a tough one. We've seen from week 1 that Team Flawless are pretty good. This Magearna is going to be an issue, like supported by Mamoswine and company. But you know what? This is what it's about, isn't it? We need to win these games and carve our path to the top cut again.
Yep.
So thanks for joining us, Aaron.
Thank you.
And we'll see you tomorrow. So goodbye for now.